All right. Say, could we acknowledge ourselves for being here? Welcome to A Course in Miracles. 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 Just remember that with A Course in Miracles, that you don't have to believe the ideas, you don't have to accept the ideas. Some of the ideas you'll find hard to believe, some of the ideas will be quite startling. But if you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas work, you'll see that the ideas apply, and you'll see one main thing, which is that you're giving everything you see and experience all the meaning that it has for you. Everything that's going on in your life right now, you're giving it all the meaning that it has for you. Everything that's happening in your life right now, you're giving it all the meaning that it has for you. Everything that's happening in your life right now, you're giving it all the meaning that it has for you. Who's giving it all the meaning that it has? You're giving it all the meaning that it has for you. And then the meaning that you're giving to it is that meaning in turn creating your feelings and emotions about it. The meaning that you're giving it, is it what's giving you the feelings that you're having about it?
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to change how you feel, do you change the meaning that you're giving to it, everything that you're experiencing?
Yes. Correct.
If you want to change the way that you're feeling right now, which would be easier? Changing the meaning that you're giving it, or trying to change the person, the situation, or the circumstance outside yourself?
The meaning.
Which one are you going to try to do? The person, the situation, and the circumstance. Yeah, let's just be clear. We know what you're going to go for. You're going to go for one more time. I'm going to get them to change. One more time, I'm going to get them to do it differently. One more time, they're going to do it right. I know. If I give them some good enough loving tonight, they're going to do it differently. All right. So the section that we're going to be on today is called the Escape from Darkness. And it's on page 11 in the text. And I have some loaner copies up front in case anybody wants to use them.
What page is that on?
It's on page 11.
11.
It's page 11 in the text. So what you want to do if you want to make this class meaningful to you today is to think about some situation or circumstance in your own life that you would like to see differently. I'm going to give you the Course in Miracles alternative definitions for some of the terms to make it less abstract. Darkness, the Course is only talking about love or fear. So darkness is another term for fear, lack, ignorance, guilt, and ego. So the Course calls darkness ignorance, and it calls light the truth. So we're talking about the escape from ignorance.
Yay.
The escape from fear, the escape from lack, and then you can make it personal by assigning that to any particular circumstance that you think you're going through right now. So the escape from lack, whatever. The escape from fear in my whatever. So you want to make it relevant to what you think you're going through right now. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read it the way it is in the book. Then I'm going to give you the translation of it to make it even easier. And then I'll throw it open for questions. And then I'll be glad to clarify anything I've said. I'd just like to ask you to hold your questions until I open it for questions. So if you ask me a question before I'm opening for questions, then I'm gonna wait until it's question time. So don't take it personal.
Thanks for that clarity.
Yeah. So try to control yourself. Because I know sometimes when you read this, sometimes you just can't help it. It just comes out. Okay. Okay. So the escape from fear, the escape from ignorance, the escape from unhappiness involves two stages. First, the recognition that darkness, fear, and lack can't hide. You can't hide your ignorance. To somebody who knows. This step usually entails fear. Second, the recognition that there is nothing you want to hide even if you could. There is nothing you want to hide even if you could. There is nothing you want to hide. First, you got to recognize that your fear and ignorance about any situation can hide. And then the next thing you do is recognize that there's nothing you want to hide even if you could.
Amen.
This is the step that brings escape from fear. When you have become willing to hide nothing, when you have become willing to hide not one thing, you will not only be willing to enter into communion when you're not willing to hide nothing, but you will also understand what peace and joy is. So according to the Course in Miracles, how do I understand what peace and joy is? When I'm willing to enter into communion. When am I willing to enter into joining in communion? When I am willing to hide nothing. When I'm willing to hide nothing, I will not be afraid, because there's nothing I want to hide, even if I could. And so I need to recognize my ignorance or my darkness cannot hide. And those are the two stages. The Course in Miracles makes sense if you read it front or backwards. If you notice, I read it from the bottom up, and it made as much sense when I read it from the top down. So let me give you the translation of that. Okay, so if I'm going to have escape from ignorance or lack of fear in any area, this step one is I have to recognize that my ego can't hide, my fear cannot hide, and that my ignorance cannot hide. Like if I don't really know how to drive a car and I'm ignorant about how to drive a car, and the moment comes where I need to drive a car, I can't hide my ignorance in driving a car. I don't care how much I want to. It's going to become obvious that when it comes to driving a car, I'm ignorant, especially if someone puts me behind the wheel and says, drive. So in a situation that I'm ignorant in, the truth is I can't really hide it. So if I'm in, let's say, a relationship, and I'm finding myself full of constant conflict and fear and upset, then I'm just like the person in the car that don't know how to drive. I have ignorance about how to have peaceful, loving relationships. If I'm in a situation right now that I see myself as experiencing lack whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, whether it's emotionally, and right now I don't know how I'm going to make it and how I'm going to pay my bills, for instance, I am ignorant about the laws of abundance. And I can't hide it. Why? Because I'm worried about how I'm going to handle my situation. If I'm sick and I can't seem to do anything about it, I'm ignorant about the laws of healing. You can't hide. If I'm losing my temper all the time, I'm ignorant of the laws of peace. If I feel guilty all the time, I'm ignorant about the laws of innocence. You can't hide it. Okay, that's the first thing the Spirit told me. Then it says, realizing that you can't hide fear and ignorance and ego usually entails fear itself, because people become afraid about what it is they're hiding being found out. So the actual denial itself produces fear. Trying to hide it produces fear. You know what I'm saying? It's like in a situation where you're not confident in, and you got to reveal that you are not very confident about that situation right now, it usually entails fear. The next thing that the Course in Miracles says is in stage 2, you must recognize that there's nothing you want to hide even if you could. Because having nothing that you need to hide brings escape from fear. There's nothing for me to hide, then there's nothing for me to be afraid about being exposed. If there's nothing for me to hide, then there's nothing for me to be afraid about being exposed. And if there's nothing that I'm hiding, then I won't feel afraid and I won't feel guilty. I won't feel afraid and I won't feel guilty if there's nothing to hide. So be willing to hide nothing. Because if you're willing to hide nothing, there's nothing to prevent you from joining with yourself, there's nothing to prevent you from joining with another person, and there's nothing to prevent you from joining with God, the Creator. That's communion. And so if there's nothing you're hiding, then you can understand what peace and joy is, because I can have peace and joy because there's nothing I'm hiding, there's nothing I'm feeling guilty about, there's nothing that I'm feeling ashamed about, there's nothing that I feel like is going to cause me a problem if it's found out. So joy and peace and understanding are on the other side of not hiding. Paragraph 1. Now, all of you with secrets, you know who you are. And you know what your secret is. That's enough said, right? So you either need to stop hiding or to stop doing it. If you want to let go of fear. Not because you're bad, but if you want to let go of fear. So what are the 2 steps in escape from fear? First of all, recognizing that fear and ignorance can't hide. And then the next step is to recognize as much as possible you don't want nothing to hide. That you have to hide. Okay. Any questions about that paragraph? And I'm going to answer, and I want some other people to ask questions too in addition to Chris. I know Chris is the official questioner for the whole class. But it would be great to hear what you think about some things too, and I'm glad you asked a question. Yeah, Chris.
Well, I just found it interesting
Uh-huh.
how what it says here is very simple.
Yes.
But I'm recognizing how I have a lot of resistance towards this, so I want to immediately analyze it and try and figure it out.
Figure out what?
Like, when you have become willing to hide nothing, you will not only be willing to enter into communion, but will also understand peace and joy. That's very straightforward, but I'm finding myself actually in fear of that and resisting that, so then I'm wanting to analyze it to like, so that I won't have to decide.
Don't analyze it. Just what is it that's fearful about?
Well, telling my like innermost thoughts and my secrets.
Right. Well, by virtue of the fact that it's a secret, would tend to mean, in truth, that it ultimately doesn't matter. Because anything that you hide isn't real. A love you hide isn't real. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're hiding ultimately isn't real, because everything that's real is shared. And everything that's real is shared with everyone. Mm-hmm. Based on that definition, all of us are feeling upset about stuff that really don't matter. Because we have so many private thoughts. So basically, all of your thoughts that you feel like you must keep private, you're probably doing everybody a favor. By just keeping them to yourself, because obviously they're not valuable thoughts, so you would give them away, and you would give them away in joy, and you would give them away in peace, and you would give them away in innocence. If I love you and I feel good about you, and all my thoughts about you are loving thoughts, why would I want to hide that? The only thing I want to hide would be thoughts of judgment, thoughts of fear, thoughts of anger, thoughts that I think would hurt me or you. So if that's the case, why do I need to share it in the first place? Because it's just my perception of you anyway. It has nothing to do with who you really are, so it's my issue, not yours. There's nothing wrong with you. That's my perception that I got something about you I'm upset about. So really it's me that needs to change my mind about it. And so if I have nothing to hide, I have nothing to be afraid of. If I have no thoughts about you that are private thoughts, I don't have any thoughts that I have to be afraid of sharing with you. The only thing I'm going to be afraid to share with you, Chris, is some kind of judgment. It's going to be something that's unloving. Because there's no reason to hide a loving thought. So all the private thoughts, you just, well, you know, anybody in what you all feel about me, for instance, is none of my business. I don't need to know your judgments of me.
Love you, girl.
I don't need to know. Say what?
I love you.
I see, I love you too. Lord have mercy. See, you see that joy?
Yeah.
Joy and understanding. Yeah, peace. See what I mean? Okay. Anybody else?
Okay.
Yes, David.
I think I'm not, hide. Hiding from myself.
Mm-hmm.
Once you decide to acknowledge something, not be in denial of something,
Mm-hmm.
could you just talk a little bit about what you do about it? I mean, or if anything, it's like, how do I not hide? What do I do with something once I say, okay, I'm impatient, or something.
Okay, we're going to cover that.
Okay,
It's coming up.
thank you very much.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Everybody clear? 2 steps to escaping from fear. What's step 1?
Hide nothing.
Recognizing that your ego can't hide. What's step 2? Recognize you don't really want to have anything you got to hide. Okay? And if you don't have anything that you have to hide, then there's nothing to prevent you from connecting and joining. And so you're going to have communion, which is connecting and joining. And so then you'll finally understand what peace and joy is. And the Course in Miracles definition of peace and joy, peace is total fulfillment. So when the Course in Miracles says peace, it's not talking about contemplating your navel in a cave. It's not talking about, a lot of times truth students think peace means sitting still and not saying anything. That doesn't work for the people who party.
That's right.
There are people who like to be extroverted, who don't like to just sit down. That they can be, I've had some of my most peaceful moments listening to some of my favorite music on the dance floor dancing.
Yeah.
So peace is not a form. It's not any particular physical position your body is in. Peace is not having anything to hide. Peace is having nothing you're feeling guilty about and afraid of on the inside. Okay? Everybody with me on that?
Yeah.
So the Spirit has already told us how to get rid of fear. Then it becomes a matter of each person looking within themselves at the things that they're in denial about and the things they're ignorant about and the things that they feel that they have to hide. That's your personal work. Because you know what those things are.
It's a lot of work.
So, the next paragraph, which is a doozy. It says, holiness can never really be hidden in darkness, but you can deceive yourself about it. This deception makes you fearful because you realize in your heart it is a deception. And so you exert enormous efforts to establish its reality. The miracle sets reality where reality belongs. Reality belongs only to spirit, and the miracle acknowledges only truth. The miracle dispels illusions about yourself and puts you in communion with yourself and God. The miracle joins in the atonement. By placing your mind in the service of the Holy Spirit, this establishes the proper function of your mind and corrects your mind's errors, which are merely lacks of love. Your mind can be possessed by illusions, but spirit is eternally free. Spirit is eternally free. Spirit is eternally free. If a mind perceives without love, the mind perceives an empty shell and is unaware of the spirit within. But the atonement, which is the undoing of fear, restores spirit to its proper place. The mind that serves spirit is invulnerable. So let me give you the translation of that. What I mean by the translation of that is I'm using the terms that the Course in Miracles uses for these words. Like holiness is just another word for innocence and love. Can never be hidden in darkness, which is fear, ignorance. So I'll say it again. Love can never be hidden in fear. Truth can never be hidden in ignorance. I think that's great. It's like love can never be hidden in fear. So there's no one that I'm afraid of that I'm expressing love to. I cannot fear the person I love. I cannot feel guilt if I love you. I don't feel afraid if I love you. I'm not angry if I love you. But I am angry if I fear you. And I do feel guilt if I fear you. And I do want to attack you if I fear you, but I ain't loving you and fearing you. Woo! But you can't deceive yourself. You can deceive yourself, though. You can deceive yourself about how innocent and loving and beautiful you are. You can deceive yourself about how innocent, loving, and beautiful you are. In other words, you can see yourself as not being beautiful. You can see yourself as not being loving. You can see yourself as not being innocent. And that's the true meaning of self-deception. Self-deception is telling yourself that you're anything other than innocent, loving, and beautiful. Now you're fooling yourself. Now you're deceiving yourself. So if you are looking at yourselves as any other way other than being spectacular,
yes,
you are deceiving yourself.
Love it.
You are deceiving yourself. If you feel like you are not enough, that you're not worthwhile, that you're not valuable, you are deceiving yourself. That is self-deception from a Course in Miracles perspective. Woo! Now, you can deceive yourself about how beautiful you are. You can deceive yourself about how innocent you are. You can deceive yourself about how loving you really are. But deceiving yourself about your innocence will make you feel afraid. Because you realize in your heart that you are deceiving yourself. I'll say it again. Deceiving yourself about how loving you are will make you feel afraid. So feeling afraid is a form of deceiving yourself about how loving and innocent you are. That's why you're afraid, because if you knew how valuable you are and knew how loved you are, you wouldn't be afraid. If you knew how safe you are, you wouldn't be afraid. So fear itself is denial of your innocence and your beauty and your safety. Whew! See, this book is so loving that it's hard to hear. It's so loving. It's so loving that it'll make you go, I don't understand. I don't understand what he's talking about. Some of y'all might be going through that right now. I know he's talking in English, but I don't understand. What do you not understand about? You are loving and lovable and perfect as you were created as a child of the infinite and a child of God. When you are criticizing, judging yourself, and telling yourself anything other than that, you are deceiving yourself. Since you are deceiving yourself, you're upset. You are afraid. See how innocent and straightforward that is? So why would a person argue with me about that? Because they don't want to accept that they're loving and lovable and innocent. Which means they're insane. Because only an insane person would argue with you when you're saying they deserve love. Only a person who believes they deserve to be punished would argue with someone that's saying you don't deserve to be punished, you deserve to be healed and corrected. So someone who hates themselves argues with the idea that you deserve love. Someone who's ready to love themselves, even if they do feel some guilt and some fear or whatever, they are glad to hear they might be wrong about what they're telling themselves. My belief is that if for whatever reason you showed up here today, you showed up here today because you wanted to escape from fear, you wanted to escape from ignorance, you wanted to let go of guilt, you wanted to let go of anger, you wanted to know the love that you are. That's why you're here. So I warn you, if you come to my class, I'm going to say loving things. I'm sorry. This is not a class of condemnation. This is not a class where you're going to hell. It's not a class that you're sinful. It's not any of that. So anybody that needs that kind of teaching, I'm not your teacher. Okay? I'm for the people who want to believe in a higher power within themselves and around themselves without condemnation, guilt, and attack. All right. So, when do you know you're deceiving yourself? When you're feeling afraid. And then it said in that same paragraph, that paragraph was loaded, so I had fun going through the translations. You're deceiving yourself by not seeing yourself as innocent, lovable, and free. And when you're not loving yourself, you don't realize that you exert enormous efforts to establish the reality of your fear and ignorance and guilt. I don't know, I don't even realize how hard I try to make myself feel bad. How diligently I work to make sure I worry and I feel upset about something all the time. I look like the Course says, enormous efforts to establish the reality of your deception. So if I think I'm not enough, if I think I don't deserve love, I'm going to work real hard to keep the people away from me that support me, and I'm going to put every energy I can into the people who treat me like crap, and who judge me and who don't appreciate me. I will make sure that I become friends on Facebook with them. You have to just concentrate on making all kinds of errors in your finances to be broke all the time. You don't know how hard you have to work on not loving yourself to always choose the wrong partner. You don't know how much you have to stay away from your gifts and talents diligently to be on a job you hate that doesn't utilize anything you love. You have worked diligently for that. I want to acknowledge you for that. You know, you have to go out of the universe is all about abundance and love and support. You have to go out of your way to make sure nothing goes right. The Course says enormous effort. Enormous effort. Then it says the miracle, and I love this. It says you don't even realize, he said that you don't realize how much you are fooling yourself. You don't realize how much you're fooling yourself. You don't realize how you exert enormous efforts to establish the reality of your fear and ignorance and guilt. You don't realize how much you are fooling yourself about yourself. The miracle, which is a correct perception. So when the Course in Miracles says a miracle, it's talking about a correct perception. It says a correct perception is a miracle. That if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a Course in Miracles. If we see something correctly, it's a freaking miracle. So that's why it calls it a Course in Miracles. It's really funny when you think about it. If y'all see stuff with love, it'll be a miracle. That's why it's called a Course in Miracles. If we have a correct perception. So it says a correct perception. It says you don't realize how much you're fooling yourself about yourself. The miracle, which is a correct perception, sets reality where reality belongs. A correct perception sets the truth where the truth belongs. The only thing that's real and everlasting is spirit. It says the only thing that's real and everlasting is what?
Spirit.
The only thing that's real and everlasting is spirit. The only thing that's real and everlasting is spirit. I keep repeating it. The only thing that's real and everlasting is
Spirit.
all right. Woo! The only thing that's real and everlasting is spirit, and a correct perception acknowledges only the truth, and the only thing that is truth is love. So if I'm going to have a correct perception of you, I'm only going to acknowledge the truth about you. The truth about you is that you are loved. You are free. You are powerful. You are lovable. So the truth dispels illusions. What is the illusion? A false idea that you might have about yourself. The illusion is a false idea. Can someone name one false idea that they could have about themselves?
I'm a body.
That you're a body. What's another false idea you might have about yourself?
I'm sinful.
That you're sinful. What's another false idea you might have about yourself?
That I'm broken.
That you're
Not
broken.
worthy.
That you're
Not worthy.
That you're not worthy. So the truth, which is that you are powerful, you are spirit, you are loving, you are lovable, then that's dispelling the false idea you have about yourself. Now, why would I come to a class like this? Because I need to have those ideas reinforced. I need to have, when I turn on the CBS Evening News, they don't say you love and you lovable. It doesn't say spirit is eternal and you create your reality and everything that's happening to you, you're giving it all the meaning it has. So to me, it's kind of like, if you're not proactive to remember the truth about yourself, you won't hear the truth about yourself. And the purpose of my class is to support people who for at least 1 hour a week want to hear the truth about themselves. They want to come and join on the idea that they do deserve love, that they are loving, that they are lovable. So this is really a class in remembering what I have a tendency to forget when I'm running around in my world. And that's why we're here today, to remember. We're not here to analyze, we're here to remember. Okay? And so it goes on to say that the truth dispels illusions, which are false ideas, right? Which means that the truth dispels false ideas about who? Me. A Course in Miracles, which is the truth, gets rid of any false ideas you have about yourself. So the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to help you get rid of any false ideas about yourself that keep you from having joy and happiness and peace. The purpose of the Course in Miracles is to show you how to undo any ideas you have about yourself that keeps you from having love and peace and joy and fun. Got that? That's the purpose of the Course in Miracles. Then it goes on to say, and it's only the false ideas about yourself that makes you afraid and unhappy. So the next time you are afraid and unhappy, a conscious statement would be, I'm feeling afraid, I'm feeling unhappy, there's a possibility I must be having false ideas right now. I'm feeling afraid, I'm feeling unhappy, there must be a lie that I'm telling myself right now. I feel vulnerable, I feel afraid, I feel like I have lack, I feel like things aren't happening in my life in a way that brings me into peace. I must have some false ideas about myself, about this situation, about this person right now. So your unhappiness and fear could be a clue to teach you that you actually are not telling yourself the truth. I feel guilty, I'm not telling myself the truth. I feel unworthy, I'm not telling myself the truth. I feel like my future is bleak, I'm not telling myself the truth. I feel alone, like I could never have right relationships. Relationships never work out for me. I'm not telling myself the truth. How do I know I'm not telling myself the truth? Because I feel afraid and upset and in conflict. So you get to the point that you will use your anger to remind you that you're not seeing things correctly, instead of using your anger to feel self-righteous and to make you believe you must be right. Now, that's what it used to be for me. If I was angry, was when I thought I was the most correct. When I'm mad at you, because I wouldn't be mad at you about nothing. So if I'm mad at you, it must be for a reason. Yeah, I'm not telling myself the truth. That's the reason. I'm lying to myself. But suppose you did do something to me. You really did steal $10 out of my wallet. Yeah, but the peace that I have about it isn't coming from that. The peace I don't have about it is coming from something I'm telling myself about you taking the $10. My conflict is coming from what I'm telling myself about you taking the $10. My conflict isn't coming from you taking the $10. Some people, that would happen, they would go, obviously they really needed the $10.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna let that go. And they just go on down the street and don't worry about it. Somebody who's full of lack, they wanna kill them. Because that's my last $10. So it's really what you're telling yourself is making you upset and not the fact that the $10 was taken. So that means if you're telling yourself that what the person is doing to you is making you unhappy, that is a false idea. So that's the illusion. So it verifies what I just said. Whenever you're upset, it's because you're telling yourself some false idea. And what is the false idea? The false idea is that my feelings are being caused by something outside of me instead of accepting that my feelings are being caused by me. Now, can I pull this off every time? Of course not. If I already knew how to pull it off every time, I wouldn't even be here teaching you. I'm teaching you because I'm learning it.
Yeah.
As soon as I get this, there will be no more classes. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. I will retire when I get this. So you better enjoy me while I'm learning. You better appreciate me while I hate people. I'm going to be in Hawaii as soon as it's all I got together. I will not. Am I perfectly clear?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So don't feel bad if you know you still react. Don't feel bad if you know you still get upset. Don't feel bad if you know you still have a grievance. The thing you want to do today is tell yourself, okay, how do I get rid of this grievance? How do I get rid of this fear? Well, first of all, I'm not going to hide it. What does that mean? It means I'm going to tell myself the truth about how I feel. I'm going to be authentic about how I feel. I'm not going to hide how I feel.
Yeah.
That's not hiding. And so if I will take a look at it, even though it's kind of fearful because I've been busy trying to deny it, it will get rid of my fear because I'm no longer hiding it. One of the most challenging things to try to do with people sometimes is just to say how you feel and get them to say nothing back. No advice, no correction, no fixing, no teaching, no telling you what book to read, not telling you what to do wrong, because sometimes all you want to do in their presence is not hide your thoughts and feelings. And then not having to hide those thoughts and feelings frees you from the guilt and fear around those thoughts and feelings, because the whole friggin' world didn't come to an end just because you said you hate your mama. If that's how you feel. You understand what I'm saying? What you need to do is see the whole world not come to an end when you share your deepest, darkest secret that you've been carrying around for years and years. That you think if anybody knew, they would recoil from you as if like a poisonous snake. And how many times have you done that? Where you just shared the thing that you were just really giving yourself a hard time about, and the other person goes, really? That's the thing you haven't been letting yourself have any joy about? Yeah. And I'm sure some of you have had that experience. Yeah. So that's to me, that's the purpose of having a mighty companion, a friend, a savior, as I call them. That should be somebody that's going to hold space for you. Go ahead and tell me what you got to say, and I'll ask you if you want my perception of it. I'll ask you if you want to hear what I think about it. But I'm not going to give you unsolicited advice. I'm not going to fix you. That is the hardest thing to get people to do. And it's very rare that a person will do that, even if you establish those ground rules before you say anything. And they'll say, okay, and as soon as you do, because you made them aware of what they were hiding in themselves.
Yes.
And they wanted to deflect it by fixing you. So that they wouldn't have to look at what was going on inside of themselves that you triggered. People make you mad because they are triggering the part of you that's already mad, but you're in denial about it. People trigger your guilt because you already feel guilty, but you're trying to hide it, and they trigger your own guilt. If you weren't already feeling guilty, they couldn't make you feel guilty. If you weren't already angry, nobody could make you angry. They don't create you angry. You already, it's like playing the piano. You know what I'm saying? The key that's E is already there. It's not making no sound, is it? But then you say, bing, there it is. And that's where, and you got a lot of people playing you. You come home from work, they go, boom, boom, upset you, make you mad, make you feel so guilty, you know. You think you feel good till you see them, and then all of a sudden you're acting crazy. They're triggering what's already there, but you're hiding it in the darkness, and you're not bringing it to light. So one of the stages of accepting the truth is just the opposite of what most people want to do. One of the stages of accepting the truth is being willing to admit how untrue you are, how afraid you are, how angry you are, how upset you are. Like we said last week, how miserable you are. That's the first stage. And then once you do that, you automatically go, I'm not hiding anymore. You'll be amazed. You think you're going to feel depressed, you actually feel better. Try it. Yes.
I have a question about, I guess I'm holding on to a little bit of my suffering maybe with this question. So if fear and guilt and those things are indications that you're not telling yourself the truth, and I remember hearing last time I was here that you don't have to go through pain in order to learn, I have a little bit of an attachment to the idea that you do, because those things are indications. You know, you hit rock bottom before you get sober or whatever, you know, like I have this idea that you could just merrily go about hurting other people and have no idea, and it's not until that pain comes back to you and you start to realize the suffering of it that maybe you change your ways. And,
Okay.
Do you know?
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Let me respond to
Okay,
that.
good, thank you.
Because that's basically what I just got through saying.
Yeah,
You'll
I'm
get
sure.
to you'll get to the point that when you feel the anger and you feel the guilt and you feel the pain, that would be your clue that you're telling yourself something false, and so therefore you need to move in a new direction. That's basically just what you just said.
Okay.
Which was the same thing I said.
Right.
And the other thing is that the only reason why you're not aware of what's going on around you is what we just said, darkness, which is ignorance. So if I'm unaware, I'm going to learn through pain. Pain is coming from unawareness. A conscious being gets the lesson without going through pain. An unconscious being gets the lesson through pain. So you don't have to go through pain, but if you are going through pain, it would be great to use the pain to move you in the direction of the truth.
Right.
Then the pain is serving you. But don't tell yourself you had to go through the pain in order to get the lesson.
Right.
The pain is what you go through when you're not aware.
Right. Like burning yourself and learning that not to touch the fire.
Right, and I can see
later
you burn
you start
yourself
to
and then don't stick my
identify
finger
other
in the fire.
things that are hot.
Right.
No.
Since you're the same as me, I can see you stick your finger in the fire
Right.
and then decide, well, I don't think I'm going to stick my finger in the fire.
Right.
But there's some people who think they're so special that they would see you stick your finger in the fire and then they would say, well, if I stuck my finger in the fire, I wouldn't burn. Because I'm different. You see what I'm saying? So we don't take advantage of the fact that we're the same, so that we can save ourselves from a lot of pain we go through, because we tell ourselves we're so special that I can break all the laws of truth, but I'm not going to get the same situation that somebody else does. You know, it's like if you're with somebody and they're condemning their past partner, and they're dogging their past partner out, and they're dating you for the first time, and you still hear them talking about their past partner, your specialist will say, well, they wouldn't talk about me like that. They would never feel that way about me, because I'm special. They wouldn't do that with me. You're different. No, you're not different. You're just the latest movie screen. You're their latest projection screen. And if they haven't corrected whatever it was that created what happened in the last relationship, they're going to use you to recreate the whole situation again. And they're going to use somebody else to create the whole situation again until they come to the realization that they are the projector. That you don't change the movie that you're looking at by changing screens. If the same movie is being projected on every screen, you change the movie by putting a new film in the projector. So you come to classes like that to put new film into your projector, so that you can start projecting something that you really love instead of projecting something that's upsetting you all the time. But most people don't do that. They keep the same thoughts in their mind and then goes, okay, I tried it on Chris, it didn't work, Chris got a problem. Then I'm gonna try the same thing on Cheryl. Cheryl's then I'm just Bunny, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep having the same experience with everybody I know until I pull out the SD card for those digital nerds and pull out the film for those of us who are over 50. Are you with me? So if your life is the same movie, like have used the analogy many times. I saw Lion King in London. Somebody else saw it in Chicago. What made it the same play?
Projector.
The script. It was different actors, same script. That's what we do in our relationships and our jobs and other circumstances. We just keep changing actors, but we keep giving them our same script. And my script, I only got 1 or 2 scripts. A script that I get love witnessed back to me, or a script that I get fear or I'm not enough reflected back at me. I don't have 2 scripts. Right? And so I'm the one deciding what I want to receive. And how do I decide what I want to receive? By what I give. So if I really want to change the script, then I've got to give what I want to receive. If I want to change the script, I've got to give what I want to receive. And if I'm continually giving it and it looks like I'm not getting it back, either I'm giving it to the wrong person or I'm not really giving it.
Yeah, wow.
If I'm really giving it for real, then it's got to come back to me if I'm giving it for real. If it's not coming back to me, and I really feel like I'm giving it, I'm perfectly within my own choice to say, you know what? It might be me, but I'm going to a brand new movie theater. I'm going to another screen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes going to another screen for you to give yourself a little bit of space to let a new movie be played. Because sometimes you're so fixed at that one screen that you can't even change your mind about the movie with them. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because when you think about being with them and changing with them and transforming with them and making it work with them, you have no inspiration. You get depressed. Okay, let's try one more time. That is not inspiration. The movie shall not change. But if you go, I love you so much, this is going to give us another chance to do this right. Like, okay, I'm ready to tackle my daddy one more time. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. That may be inspiration. And another way you could tell it was inspiration would be you taking responsibility for the experience that you're about to have. That's another way you can tell. Right? Okay, I'm going to get through this because this is some good stuff in here that I worked on. That's right. I didn't do all this work for nothing. Yeah, I doggone it. All right. Also, I want to tell you, there's going to be a New Year's evening class to start out the new year with the Way of Mastery at 7 o'clock right here. So if you want to start your new year off right, focused in on the truth, and to give yourself what you did over the holidays, that would be a great opportunity. The Way of Mastery is a very, very powerful teaching. I mix it with the Course in Miracles. So that's going to be 7 o'clock New Year's night.
Day.
Yeah, New Year's Day night. New Year's Day night.
Tuesday, right?
New Year's Day night.
Oh, not New Year's.
New Year's Day. No, not nobody would be here on New Year's Eve.
I was going to be here.
For New Year's Day.
So January 1st.
Well, those who would be here, I feel kind of bad. You need to get a life. I need a life. You should be saying, I got a lot of stuff to do New Year's Eve, I can't make it. Okay. You're innocent. That's all right.
No, you're innocent.
I'm innocent. You're innocent.
No, you're not.
You're innocent.
No, you're innocent.
You're innocent. You're innocent. No, you're more innocent.
No, you're more innocent.
See, that's the kind of arguments I like to have. You're loving. No, you're loving. No, you are loving. No, you're loving. That's the kind of arguments you want to have with people. You understand? Are you with me? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so the truth dispels illusions, which are what? False ideas. Which means that the truth dispels false ideas about yourself. A Course in Miracles, which is the truth, gets rid of any false ideas you have about yourself and others and God. And it's only the false ideas about yourself that make you afraid and unhappy. Got me? Dispelling false ideas about yourself puts you in communion with yourself, with your Creator, and your Creator is love. God is love. So God is love, love is God. So another word for God is love. So if you got a problem with the word God, then you could use the word love. Okay. So the miracle, which is a correct perception, joins in the atonement. The atonement is the undoing of guilt and fear. So a correct perception helps you undo what? Guilt and fear. And that places your mind at the service of the Holy Spirit, which is your loving right mind. So a person who is undoing their guilt and fear can put their mind at the service of God, which is love. So putting my mind at the service of love is what I really want to do. And that means that when you put your mind in the service of your, I'm telling you, this stuff is coming at me today. When you put your mind at the service of the right mind, which is the Holy Spirit. Now, what is the Holy Spirit? Another word for the Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit is your loving, clear, and correct mind. It's the part of you that's linked to source. So when we say Holy Spirit, we're not talking about something outside yourself. We're talking about the voice for love inside yourself, the voice for truth inside yourself. So putting your mind at the service of love and truth, that's going to establish the proper function of your mind. Because if my mind is at the service of love, then my mind is going to be functioning properly. Is that right?
Yeah.
So when you put your mind at the service of truth, then that's going to obviously correct all the errors and mistakes in your mind. If your mind is only serving the truth, then anything that's not the truth is going to be discarded. So I've got to make a choice. Which altar am I going to serve at? Am I going to place my mind in the service of the truth in me and the love in me, or am I going to continue to place my mind in the service of the fear in me and the guilt in me? You got to make a choice today, or not. You know, you got a mind. Where are you going to place your mind? Is it going to be in service of the truth in you, the love in you, or are you going to still put your mind in the service of the guilt and the upset in you? Okay? So your mind can be possessed by false ideas. And only I make it simple for you. What are the errors in your mind? The only errors in your mind are any thoughts that reflect a lack of love. So any thought in my mind that's not a thought of love is an error in my mind. See, isn't that simple?
Yeah.
So your mind can be possessed by false ideas. How can you tell when your mind is serving false ideas? Where you go through fear and conflict. But you have a spiritual self. You have a spiritual self. You have a non-physical self. You have a consciousness. And your spiritual self is eternally and constantly free. So your real self is eternally free. Your real self is nothing but love. Your real self is love. Now, this is the self that you think you are. I said the self that you are is love. Not the self that your parents told you were, or your friends, or your teachers, unless they were telling you that. There's you, and then there's what you were taught about you. There's you and what you were taught about you. There's you and what you've learned about you. And now you're identifying with what you've learned about you. And then what you've learned about you is being reflected back at you. But your real you is just waiting for you to get some sense.
Wake up! Wake up!
Your real you is saying, I love you, 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 I love you. And then what I think about myself is going, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And I'll reflect that back to you through your physical reality and everything that you see, you're not enough. And then I buy into it and believe that's the truth about me. And my real self is just waiting for me to be open to hearing what it's saying about me. So until I'm ready to hear what my real self is saying about me, then I want to surround myself with relationships that remind me of the truth about me while I'm in the process of remembering me. See, I'm gonna play both ends against the middle. I don't care if it sounds codependent. I'm telling you, that sounds codependent. You need somebody around you always validating you. While I'm learning to validate me, I don't mind having somebody around me that's telling me loving things. I think it's stupid for me not to. So don't fall for that. Well, you're just being codependent. I'm codependent. I'm codependent. I want loving people around me sharing the loving thoughts with me until I recognize the truth about that for myself. And you know what? I can choose my friends.
That's right.
I can choose my friends. There is no excuse to be surrounded by people who are not supportive. And you're an adult. If you're an adult, there is absolutely no excuse for being around people who do not support you and just criticize you and judge you. If you're around people who don't feel excited about you, don't feel grateful to be around you, not reminding you of the truth about you, then that is a false idea that you're allowing to be reinforced in yourself, because you are choosing to believe that about yourself, and you're choosing them to witness it to you. So how do you stop? I tell you, cut it out. Stop. What? I know I can make it really deep. Stop. Next time you get ready to visit them, stop. Next time you get ready to call them, stop. What? Stop. Sometimes you're hearing that crap, you might have to go, stop. What? Stop. If you don't stop, I'm going to choose out of this relationship with you. If you don't stop, I'm never going to visit you again. I'm not going to call you anymore. I'm not going to hang out with you anymore. Because I'm trying to teach myself something different. And I need support. And if you're not going to support it, you're innocent. Don't get me wrong. You're innocent. You're okay. You're fine. I'm an adult. I am stopping this.
Yeah.
I am stopping this. Takes two to create anything. And I'm not joining with you on these ideas about me, because that's what creates them. Is me joining with you on what you're saying about me. And me not loving myself enough to choose out of it. So what does that mean? It means for a while, it may look like I'm alone. That I'm not surrounded by the people who I'm used to being around. But if I really remember that I have an eternal self, and that the eternal self is permanently free and loving whether I realize it or not. If I'm willing to let go of my ignorance and my fear, if I'm willing to have that happen, it will restore my spiritual self to the correct place in my mind. And when my mind serves my spiritual self, when my mind serves the truth, I am invulnerable. I cannot be hurt. Because all the hurt that I'm going through is coming from what I'm telling myself ultimately anyway. So if I remember who I am and I'm coming from love, there's no reason for me to attack myself. And if I'm not attacking myself on the inside, I will not be attacking myself from the outside. Now I know when I first heard stuff like this 30 years ago, it sounded like poppycock. It sounded like airy, fairy, doo, you know. And people say, oh, that's airy, fairy. No, the truth is, I am in a world, and I am in a reality, where I am surrounded by only loving people. That's it. Period. Period. Not but so-and-so. No. Period. I changed my mind, the movie changed. And sometimes things will pop up that kind of blow my mind. Maybe somebody pop up that looks like they're attacking me or I'm upset. But you know what that's like? That's like a leaf blowing in the wind that sometimes lands for a second before it goes somewhere else. Because I haven't gotten rid of every thought of this unloving. So therefore I still have some that'll pop up and it'll light here and then flip and light there. And that's when I say, oh my God, it looks like I had a bad day today. Out of the last 2 months. Where it used to be 2 months of crap and a good day. That's the way it used to be. I used to be in a leaf storm. Some of y'all are in a leaf storm right now. You're like, oh my God, oh my God. That just means that there's some things you're hiding from yourself. That just means that there's some false ideas that you're giving yourself. That just means that you've lost awareness that you're loving and lovable and that God is real and you're supported and you're not by yourself. It just means you're not listening to your guidance. It just means you haven't learned how to listen to your guidance. Your guidance is talking to you every moment, telling you what to do in every instance. But you have to learn how to hear it, just like you learned everything else. You have to unlearn. We have to do an unlearning, but unlearning doesn't take as long as learning. It doesn't take as long to unravel a ball of string as it does to wind one up. It doesn't take as long to demolish a building as it does to build one. So to undo what causes you pain does not take as long as it took to get you to the point that you're miserable about something. And you're not doing it alone. Because the minute you decide to love yourself, the minute you decide to place your mind at the service of the truth in you, then you have the support of the universe supporting you in every way, because that's what the universe does anyway. It supports you all the time. So if you want to make yourself miserable, you don't really get any help. You have to do that by yourself. So you have to ignore every heartfelt impulse, ignore every loving thought, put yourself consciously, like we said earlier, exerting enormous effort to deceive yourself. You have to make sure you never come to a class like this. You have to make sure you start reading a book that would change your life and then put it down. You have to make sure you don't do anything to focus on the truth about you in order to keep the pain going. And if you learn no pain, no gain, and you bought into that lie, then that means that when things go easy for you and the things are flowing for you and things are harmonious for you, you will have a hard time accepting it because you've already accepted that it's through pain and struggle that you grow. And if you're one of those people who believe that, and your life is full of pain and struggle, what are you complaining about? You're getting exactly what you said you needed to have to grow. You should be thankful for every hard time you're going through. If you're going to defend pain and you got pain, you should be okay about it. So you don't have to learn through pain, but if you choose to go through pain, then there's a way to look at pain that can take you beyond pain. So no matter what you've chosen, it could be used to awaken you. No matter what choices you make, they could be used by God to take you to the truth and the love of who you really are. So the issue is, do you love yourself enough to be open to another way of looking at it? And I say that you do. I say that you do. I say that you deserve love, that you're loving, that you're lovable, and that you are abundant, and that you are eternal, and that you're stronger and greater than anything that you could possibly have come up in your life that would make you think otherwise. And you need to hear it over and 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 over. People say, well, how much should you do this? Do you breathe once for the whole day? Do you just take a breath first thing in the morning and go, that's going to suffice me for the rest of the day? Or do you breathe all day long? I got to tell myself the truth all day long. And into my sleeping thoughts as well. It isn't like I say one little half-ass affirmation once in the morning and expect my whole reality to shift, but people do that.
Yeah.
They do that. They'll kind of say the truth for 2 seconds. And then they expect, oh, everything should change, or this truth doesn't work. What he's teaching me doesn't work. You know, it's just like me breathing one time in the morning and then wonder why I'm laid out on the floor. Guess what? That breath worked for that moment.
Yeah.
That breath was the perfect breath, and it supplied me in that moment, right? So I love Earl now. Oh, it feels good. I love Earl now. Ooh. I love Earl now. Ooh. I love Earl now. Ooh. I'm criticizing Earl. Ugh. Some kind of a challenge just hit me in my perception. Oh, that means I'm telling myself something that isn't true. I'm making some choices that don't reflect the truth in me. Or if I forget it, I got people in my life that'll say back to me, hey, you deserve love right now no matter what you're telling yourself. Then I go to love Earl now. Ooh. Love Earl now. Ooh. Love you now. Ooh. Acknowledge yourself, Holy Spirit. Give it up. For you. Yes. 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 All right, we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation now. And I really appreciate that as a full-time teacher of this material. And also, I video my classes and put them on YouTube, on my website. Google me, and you will get a chance to watch my classes. Would you pass the money? Thank you. I'm also available for personal sessions called Clarity Sessions. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and it explains in detail what I offer in terms of personal coaching and working with you. And also I have some sheets up front that will also describe what I do. Is there anybody in here that is not on my contact list that would like to be on the contact list so I can let you know about classes and workshops and what I'm here and what I'm not? So is anybody that needs to sign the contact list is not on the contact list so they can know what's happening? If so, I can give it to you right now and let you do it. It would be a possibility that you would receive love and support.
Possibility.
It would be a possibility that you receive love and support. All right, so when you leave out today, there's a little, what's the thing, Sheila?
The hydraulic closer on the big door.
The hydraulic closer on the door. We're going to have it fixed today, and this week. So make sure you push it all the way up when you leave, okay? All right, so I got one thing I want to say before you go, and then we can rush out to the lab. You know you're going out to the lab, right? You know you're gonna get a chance. You've got to do it now. I'm gonna say something to you. You are abundant. You are abundant. I'm gonna say it to myself. I am abundant. Claim it again. I am abundant. One more time. I am abundant. Say what? I am abundant. Because I know. That's who I am. I'm a soul man. Yeah. Going into the new year. I'm a soul man. Yes. Y'all got it? I'm not an old man. I'm a soul man. You are loving and lovable. You want to say it to yourself now. I am loving and lovable. Don't forget how to play. I am loving and lovable. Play it for yourself. I am loving and lovable. And I deserve love now. 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 I accept love now. I accept love now. Funds are available. Happy New Year. I appreciate y'all. Have fun in the lab. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you and want to love you. I love you and want to love you. I love you and want to love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.